What happened after the earnings in Super Microcomputer?
Let's see what's going on. First of all, remember to read disclaimer right here and also in the description below. Wow, look at the chart right there. We are talking about the downtrend from last highs of more than 60% if we take into account the lowest part, and right now, yeah, more than 60% also. So what happened? As Alvaro mentioned, the earnings, were they good, were they bad? So the surprise factor was negative, as you can see right there. So mixed opinions. If we go to the financials, we also have very interesting data in the last quarter that you can see right there. What can you tell us about that, Alvaro?
Yeah, we're talking about, the reported earnings. It was horrible in the last quarter. You can clearly see right here, even though the data is not correct, we are in the second quarter, not in the fourth one. But still, it's like a huge downtrend. The negative surprise factor of minus 23%. It's huge. I mean, it's noticeable. But then, remember, guys, now it's going down like very, very hard, this stock. But the estimate that we have in the next quarter is also not good. And that's the key factor here, because there are investors that they don't want to be in a stock that is trading sideways, because that's a risk after all, So maybe they're thinking, okay, it's not gonna grow, it's gonna stay where it's right now, or maybe it's even worse, because if we have like the reported earnings repeatedly again on below the expectations, obviously the downturn could continue. So there are several risks in this stock that we are facing right now.
Yeah, guys, what do you think? Do you think the earnings were as bad as we saw, like the price was affected? Do you think this situation is different and maybe this is an opportunity? What is your opinion? Let us know in the comments below. As usual, we're very happy to read all of your comments and all your opinions and insights. So you have the forecast right there. Also, we have 12 analysts offering this 1 year price forecast. Maximum one $1,300, 192%. Then the average 70%, $750 around that number, and then the minimum minus 42%. But the interesting thing here, I wanted to mention that we saw in multiple news resources from talking about Wall Street analysts and all that. Some of them have changed this forecast, so maybe this isn't updated. I don't know if this is the exact information. If you know about it, let us know in the comments. But for example, according to some data we have here in Finbolt, the SMCI stock price target from the team of Wells Fargo has changed, from $650 to $375. So that's a huge change, and I remember that I saw different ones, if I'm not mistaken, that were also changing the price from buy to hold and others to sell. So how do you see this situation, if this information is correct? And if you have it and you can share it with us, let us know below. But I'm very interested in knowing your opinion, because when they change this type of forecast, obviously they don't want to miss. So if they were in the bullish side and they change to the bearish, or at least to the hold one, is because they expect something different in the stock that they didn't have into account in the previous forecast.
Yeah, it's still, the average is still positive. That's something that we can still have some hope. But obviously, the last quarter it was like completely the expectation were completely devastated. And that's important to know. The surprise factor is one of the key things to understand what will happen after the release of an earnings. It's like we have a huge negative number. Normally the stocks it goes down. And this is what happened here, and it happened in many other stocks. So remember, guys, we have now the next quarter again. The estimate of this as a stock, we have a 7.47, and then again, if we see the extraordinary earnings below this number, obviously this could be transformed into a new downtrend that could be very dramatic, because these stocks, tech stocks in general, they are kind of volatile.
Yeah, exactly. That's a very interesting topic also to talk about volatility and all that. And going back to the chart, I don't know if this is confirmed or not, but there are also some information about the company's 10-for-1 stock split. And if you have information about that also, please share it with us. But that will obviously be something interesting to take into account, because we have saw in the past with all the stock splits, it could be positive or negative, but the thing is, like, they affect the stock in a very direct way, and you can tend to see even more volatility and maybe hype around the stock, or at least more publicity, to say so. And it could be positive or negative. It will depend on multiple factors. But how do you see that? Share it with us in the comments also. And going to the financial section, that is different to the forecast one, we have the quarterly right here, the last one also in growth and profitability, but we have different data. I mean, the net margin we can see right here, and it's interesting, from the previous one, it has changed. The previous one was 10.45%, the net margin, and in this one, 6.64%, even lower than the first quarter of this. Well, I mean the third one or the fourth one from the previous year, because this data is like the numbers are changed. But the thing is, like, they are in numbers that were being traded or being announced in previous ones, so this has been a huge downtrend right here. How do you see that change in the net margin? This affect also, even in a more negative way, the stock? How do you see that, guys?
Yeah, look at that. We have a net margin of 6.64. Actually, yeah, the lowest levels ever in the last couple of years. That's insane, and that's the problematic thing that we are experiencing, that we are facing right now in super microcomputer. And look at that, look at the cost of goods sold. So we're talking about almost the same as the revenue. This is not positive. This is way too high. They need to pay attention to these numbers, and they need to rectify as soon as possible, because if they don't do it, they could repeat this quarter. And that's important, to reverse the situation. It depends on the people that are managing the company, especially in the financial department. But obviously, they still have time to do it. They have time to reverse this situation.
Guys, so how do you see all this information? Let us know in the comments below. I'm going to the 1 hour time frame to see like a lower time frame perspective. It's interesting to notice this last red candle that we have right here. A lot of volatility to the downside, minus 20%, in just 1 hour. And you also, if you take a look and zoom out, we have also a lot of bearish pressure we can see during these last movements. With this one also, it had a gap to the upside, but from there another 20 something percent to the lower side as soon as the price was approaching these higher areas of the price. So very interesting. How do you see the situation right now? Is this a good moment? Maybe you see this as an opportunity, or maybe just the opposite, or a different opinion? Share it with us. We're very happy to read all your comments. Everything. Hit that like button, subscribe to Trading HT, check out other videos, and have a nice weekend.
Leave us your prediction, below for the $400 area or above 500.
See how the next week goes. Thank you very much. Have a nice weekend.